Okay, let's start the session. To start with, I would like to introduce our speaker, Mr. Deepak Kanduri. He's an electronic and communication engineer by qualification. He has recently superannuated from ONGC as a group journal manager, where he was in charge of the company's digital center of excellence and IT governance. He began practicing heartfulness while in college and became a heartfulness trainer in 1996. Since then, he has conducted numerous heartfulness sessions at various organizations and events. He is passionate about exploring and educating others on the role of heartfulness, practicing and achieving work life balance. And now I would like to request Mr. Deepak Kanduri to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you and very good evening to all. I will start with a question. How prepared are you today for a world that is going to be obsolete, what you know today, by tomorrow? Now, as we know that everything is changing, the technology, the world, the processes, new problems are emerging, and new skill sets are emerging. So in this scenario, we need to have skills of fast learning, upgrading ourselves, creating a skill stack, which can be very definitive for promoting our career. And we are talking of work-life balance. We also need to take care of how fast we learn things in this fast-changing era. So before we dive into the subject, uh, I would like to draw your attention because some time back I was taking a presentation here on habit stacking, and somebody asked me that how to use habit stacking for speed learning. A similar question was there. I'm not exactly remembering the words, but that time, because I was talking about habit stacking, where we link a new habit with a pre-existing habit so that it is easy to take it up. But that is all I could say at that time, that whatever study or speed learning method you have adopted or task that you have created, you link it up with an existing habit. So I thought it is good to take up a full session on speed learning. So today we'll talk about that in whatever time we have. But before that, I would like to help you to center yourself, because today has been a work day. And when we center ourselves, we are able to grasp more, we are able to receive more. Our mind is also settled, and learning is definitely more. So I would advise you to sit comfortably. Rather, I will urge you to follow my instruction so that you can take full benefit of this wonderful technique. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. It should not be a rushed breathe out, but slow, deliberate breathe out. Again, take a deep breath in and slow breathe out. Imagine yourself sitting in an ocean of peace. You are submerged in that ocean of peace and bliss. Blissful waves are passing through. They're passing through all over your body and removing all your coverings, wave by wave. And you are fully immersed in this ocean of bliss and peace, which is much above your head and also much below your legs. The waves are passing through your body, and feel that slowly you are dissolving. All your coverings are getting dissolved in these small, blissful waves. You are becoming calmer and more peaceful and more transparent, more settled, more centered. Allow these waves to keep passing through your entire body and keep removing coverings bit by bit from your entire system. Small, blissful waves passing through you and making you transparent, so that your inner light is now beginning to shine. and you can divert your attention toward this inner light in the heart and feel yourself settled there. Remain in this settled mode for a few minutes. Now gently open your eyes. Welcome back. So let's get started. Let me share my presentation. I hope my presentation is visible. Can somebody confirm that it is visible? Okay, thank you. So this is about accelerated learning, which is mostly taken from a book on super learning by Peter Hollins and some other experiences and tidbits which I gathered from here and there and my own personal experiences. So let us first set the context. Why this speed learning is so important right now? Because the world is fast changing. First thing that comes to mind is technology. Technology is fast changing. Earlier, the first flight was taken by Wright brothers in 1903, and it took 66 years for man to reach the moon. Similarly, the smartphones, let us say iPhone, which appeared on scene in 2007, and within less than 1.5 decades, it became an integral part of our lives. Life before smartphone and life after smartphone is different because we have been through that. And how integrated it is with our life is unimaginable now. So fast it has taken such a important space in our life. There is a shift in skills. And there is a study which says that in coming years, 85 million jobs will be lost and 97 million new roles will be created. So there's a shift happening. And this is not a hearsay, but it is from very reputed sources, these data, which I'm quoting over here. And then this rise of AI, one of the fastest growing technology, which we cannot ignore. In just 2018, there was this GPT, which was a test setup, which was not open to public. And its only thing what it did was that if you wrote a sentence, the last word was suggested by the GPT from its huge database of text and website and whatever was fed into it. From there, it could analyze and suggest a word. That's it. But now it is conversational. And if we are not using AI in our day-to-day work, we are losing out to others who are using it. Half-life of knowledge. Half-life of knowledge is defined as when whatever you know, half of it is obsolete. In early, you can say, 19th century or late 19th century, the half-life was around 35 years, especially around engineering. That engineering knowledge, half of it became obsolete because new technology, new principles emerged, and it was useless. Half of it was useless. But now, in today's world, especially in the field of IT and computer, the half-life is reduced to 5 to 7 years. So what we have learned 5 years before, how relevant all those things are today? Some of them could be, but then that knowledge base is getting eroded. New things are coming. We all are aware of social media revolution, whether it is YouTube or Instagram, TikTok. It is not here, but elsewhere. New careers, digital marketing, whole new businesses are being set up on this social media revolution. This is again a new thing, and it is shifting, it is changing shape. Educational transformation, of course, we have online portals like Udemy, like Coursera, many universities, reputed universities like Harvard and Stanford, they are offering courses, IIT, IIMs, online courses, short courses, very dense courses where you can upgrade your skill. very fast. So that's where the world is going. Quickly upgrade through short courses and increase your skill stack. And then finally, there is this green economy, because climate change is a very big issue. World leaders get together not to discuss world peace, but they do get together to discuss climate change. It is so urgent and so important. Mankind's survival depends upon it, and it is going to be more and more severe in the times to come. So the new skill sets are required for this: sustainable technologies, renewable energy, carbon management. So all these new skills are there. So that's why we need accelerated learning. So some basic essentials on which we will build our strategy for fast learning. Human attention span is limited. That is the first principle on which we can base our understanding of fast learning. That when we are studying, if I remember from my own school days, college days, if we sit with a book and for a long time, we find that our efficiency reduces very fast. If we are spending less time, there is no depth. If the time period is too short, there is no depth. And if we are spending too long, there is cognitive fatigue. We are not absorbing, we are not reading, we are not understanding. So once this is understood, we can use this for our benefit to create a better strategy. And second thing about learning is, until unless we schedule learning, it will not happen. If we say tomorrow I will study, or whether it is professional field or it is a academic field, you have to study a report. A lot of study has to be done. Even for professionals and CAs, financial and account officials, they all need to study sometime. If you do not plan it, then it will not happen, and it will all go to the last minute. So schedule your study. And strategizing, everything needs to be strategized. Strategizes when our learning is most efficient, whether we are morning person or evening person, when our mind is more alert, when we can remember and grasp things. So do not postpone learning to dull parts of the day or where you are feeling lazy. So these all are part of strategizing, where your energy levels, you have to keep your energy levels sufficiently. Or if you plan your study after a very intense session, whether physical or mental, you'll be fatigued and the learning won't happen. So all this you have to see. And this is more for academic, that prioritize understanding over rote memorization. If sometimes this rote memorization is important, but if we should not prioritize over understanding. If we are fully understanding the base concepts and at higher level concepts and where this subject is taking us, or how this entire thing is working, it is easier to remember things which we have understood. Because when we understand, it also links up with our pre-existing knowledge, and it is easy to build over pre-existing knowledge. It is easy for our memory to build over that. Embrace productive failure. This is may sound very counterproductive, but there is a full research done on this. There were two sets of students in a school. The details are in the book. I have not fetched the details, but suffice here to say that two sets of students were there, and both were given a set of problems. Group one, they were given some notes, they were given guidance, they were given support, how to go about it. Some scaffolding was there for them to think and move forward. And this group two was left as it is. You work on your own. So the second group had to fall back upon collaboration and thinking about how this problem need to be solved. It was a difficult problem. So they struggled a lot with the problem. Outcome was group one could solve the problems, and group two were not able to solve the problems. That's of course there. But the real thing was that the learning what they had done, learning what they have earned through this exercise was much higher, significantly higher in group two. When they were tested for learning, group two, even though they had not been able to solve the problem, the learning was much greater. So the theory behind it is that because they failed, they were struggling. The struggling for grasping to understand the concepts and collaborating and thinking, this all struggle caused them to learn it more. So embracing productive failure is another concept. So instead of immediately asking, immediately going for some, you can say, support, it is good to struggle for some time. Challenge yourself without frustrating yourself. This is a very important, you can say, concept for everything, whether you are doing a project or you are starting your own company or you are setting a target for anything, even for studying. Target should be challenging enough for your current set of skills and competence. Otherwise, brain will not give you that much energy because it's not challenging target and you may slip. And it should also not be so high that you become frustrated. It appears impossible. So setting up target in such a manner that they are also challenging, but not too challenging or seem like impossible. So, and in this also you have to see that you have to anticipate frustration. Frustration will creep in sooner or later. What methodology you are going to adopt when you are going to be frustrated? You think ahead. There will come time when you will get frustrated. You will find you will take a break, or you will have a cup of coffee, or you will talk to someone, or you will do this, or you will do that, or you will take some guidance from someone, whatever your strategy is. So anticipate and prepare for it. Maintain enthusiasm. Now, enthusiasm is something which you can create within yourself if you are willing, by positive affirmation or by whatever means, by maintaining your energy levels, maintain enthusiasm. If you are focused, or if you are, you can say, driving it, then it comes up. Gamify is just giving yourself reward. If you have planned something and you reached it, reward yourself by whatever small way you can. Maybe if you've covered so much of content, then you will go and see a movie or whatever is something which you enjoy doing, or go out with friends or something like that. Cultivate a growth mindset. Failures are bound to come. Life is full of failures, and there are two approaches to it. One is, if you start blaming yourself, I'm not good enough, I could not do this, or I failed in this, whatever. And second is, growth mindset is, I tried this and this has not worked. What should I do so that I do not fail the next time? Or what shortcomings were there which I need to take care of? So that's, learning mode. And it requires some thinking, it requires some analysis, it requires some enthusiasm and some courage. And all these things you have to develop. And every failure becomes an opportunity to improve. Now, when we are talking of learning, memory becomes very important for it. So understanding how memory works will help us in improving our learning. Memory has 3 steps: encoding, storing, and retrieval. Very simple. Encoding is processing information through your senses. Like right now, when you are listening to me, you're maybe looking at the slide and listening to my voice. All this is information getting processed and it is getting encoded. Neurons are in play, synaptic bonds are in play, and something is happening in your brain to encode this information, because it's an audio visual information that is happening right now, and your brain is processing and encoding it. Here the trick is that if we if we are focused and not diverted in so many places, we are not playing with our phone, looking at our messages, or listening to something else, or also talking to somebody else, because we are in a meeting where everybody is not online, everybody is not can be seen on camera. You could be doing anything. If there are so many distractions, focus is distributed. So that's not good for learning. So more focus, more the attention, better encoding. And also emotional significance. There are certain things when some emotion is attached with certain event, whether it is fear or anger or desperation or anxiety, whatever, that information or that particular memory remains alive with us for a long time. We do not forget it because some emotional significance is being added to it. If you look back to your life and whichever being very high points or low points, you remember it clearly. So that's another, you can say, property of getting good memory. Second function of memory is storage. Sensory storage, short-term storage, and long-term memory. The whole game here is to see that whatever we are studying, whatever we are trying to memorize, it gets into long-term memory and does not stay just in the sensory memory. Sensory memory is when you are looking at things, you are able to remember at least for that second. It is just short-term or sensory memory. Short-term is you may remember it for a very short period and it will go off. Long-term is where your knowledge resides. Retrieval. Accelerating learning is improving memory capacity. Retrieval is where the memory actually works. When we are able to recall or we are able to access the memory and have that knowledge with us for whatever we are doing. That's the real function of memory, isn't it? Whatever we memorize, we keep forgetting. It is very natural. There is a forgetting curve, which I have not shown here. If we memorize something, we are beginning to forget as soon as we have memorized it. It's like a charge. It begins to get discharged, right? And it is said that this forgetting is usually a failure or shortcoming in storage process. If you are not storing it properly, then the charge gets lost easily or we begin to forget much easily. So we have to improve our storage. I mean, how we improve our storage? As I told in the last slide, that if we have more focus and more attention and we apply more meaning to it and a sense of urgency, we collect ourselves, then that storing becomes a little more secure, a little more deeper. Then we also need to understand how we are able to retrieve memory retrieval. First is recall. Recall is the most powerful way of, you can say, memory retrieval, where we do not require any cue. We can immediately recall it anytime we want. And a lot of information we have, which is, you can say, when we say that thing is on our tips. Tips means we can recall it anytime we want in full manner, without any cue, without any hint. Second is we require some cue, some hint or some nudge to remember it. Maybe if some sentence is not coming, if we say the first word or say the first letter, let's say somebody is trying to remember capital of a country. He's not able to remember it. He's not able to recall it. And if you say the first letter, he will immediately say the whole word comes. So because that cue is there. And then relearning. Relearning is a memory function where when we learn a thing first time, it may take a long time. And after some time, if we try to learn it again, we are taking less time because some impression of the first learning are still there. So second time, we do it in half time. And let's say after some time, we again go back to the same thing and try to learn it again. We again do it in much lesser time. So this is that every learning is leaving some impression and deepening our memory. So this is relearning. Now in the book, there is one method that was suggested based on the research and the study that he did. It's about the study cycle. It is more prevalent for academic studies, because a lot of CA students are also there in this ICI group. So I thought, let me quote this study cycle. How relevant it is to you, we can see. The first step in this is have a broad overview, have the big picture. Don't immediately begin to, dive deep and you can say, try to understand each and every concept and each and everything and making rich notes. So first is have a broad understanding of the whole subject or the whole chapter or the whole passage, or whatever the study, you can say, plan you have made. In that sitting, you have a broad overview and understand the big picture so that you can now fit in the knowledge that comes in, because now you understand where the whole thing is going. This is the attend. Next is attend, where you apply your attention and you focus and you're doing active learning. You are making notes, you are recalling, reading something, and then trying to remember what you have learned and trying to make some notes about whatever you have learned, interpret in your own ways. And then that's how it is. Third is review. It is like review, like we did in the first step, but now we are checking what ground we have covered. In the first review, we are trying to understand what is the big picture. In second review, we are seeing what we have covered, how much we know, and what is remaining, of which is strengthened and which is still not strengthened, and we have to revisit. And then fourth step is repetition. We again go to the material, like we talked about in the previous slide, memory relearning. Now when we're doing relearning, when we're doing repeating, we will be able to study in much less time. And the memory also gets deepened, and it is committed more strongly to the memory. Last step is assess, where we check our progress and we adjust. Again, this assess is a very interesting thing. It can be applied to any, you can say, activity of life, any, you can say, project or business or whatever you are doing. We need to find time to assess where we are going, how we are progressing, what is not working, and what needs to be adjusted. Because all these steps, preview, attend, review, study, we need to fine-tune it to our own style. Whether our preview is not happening properly, then attend will take more time because we have to fit information, we are missing the big picture, or we are spending too much time in preview and giving less time to attend. So whatever it is, so we assess and we adjust according to the observations. If there is one method that needs to be, you can say, taken away from this presentation, is spaced repetition. This is one of the most important aspects which I found in this particular book, was spaced repetition. Of course, most of us would be knowing, but when we understand that research also said that this is something very good for studying and committing things to memory, where we can recall it easily. This is about how to stop forgetting. And that's our main problem, isn't it? When we are studying, we keep forgetting. How to stop forget? The trick is spaced repetition over a long period of time. That is, instead of studying for a long period on day one, 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, we study the same material over number of days. Instead of 10 hours in one day, 2 hours for 5 days. So once we space it, the absorption and memory retention is much better. Because the memory is like muscle. Even when we are training, when you go for intense workouts, we do not crash ourselves on the day one. Our coach or our trainer will give us some exercises and then say, come again. And then over a long period of time, we build ourselves, whatever we are aiming to build, whether losing weight or gaining muscle mass or whatever, or flexibility, whatever we are trying to do, it takes time. And because between workout, the muscles have to recover. And this recovery time is very important, where muscles get strengthened, they get built. Similarly, memory also get built during this recovery time. So some recovery time is required. That is why space and repetition is required to strengthen the memory. And all this shifts, or rather moves our memory from short-term memory to long-term memory, which I talked about this in one of our previous presentation when I was talking about deep sleep, where one part of the brain does this specially. Every night, it is sifting through whatever memories are there, whether it is important or not. And if it considers it important, it puts it into long-term memory. And how does brain know that it is important? If that memory is being recalled, if it is being repeatedly recalled, then brain knows that is something important, it is being accessed frequently, so it will put it in long-term memory. So we trick our brain to put something in long-term memory by repetition. And of course, when we are talking about spaced repetition, last minute study is ineffective. Maybe we can reproduce some of it for some event, some exam or something, but then it will not stay with us. And we are not studying to clear exams, we are studying to gain the knowledge, to commit to our memory. So that's why spaced repetition is much more important than last minute study. But sometimes somebody will say that well, sometimes we need to cram. So cramming is also important. So how to cram for short-term duration and partially encoded in the long-term memory? There are some techniques where in short time we can commit something to our long-term memory. And here again the trick is repetition. 3 hours in one night or 1 hour 3 times a day. So if we have only one day to remember something for a certain event, it could be presentation, it could be exam, it could be any professional event, because this is applicable for anything. Focusing for one bulk of time in one time, we break it into multiple sessions. The chances of recalling, chances of learning, chances of memorizing is much higher. Again, focus on frequency other than duration. This is the trick. Active recall versus passive reading. Everybody understand what is passive reading. When we are reading passively. We are maybe just skimming through the words. Sometimes we are understanding, sometimes we are not understanding, but just reading through it, glancing over it lightly. That is passive reading. It does not, hold um, good for any learning or any committing to memory. Active recall is something which is very, like we know that we can trick the brain when we try to recall or we struggle to recall what we have studied some time back. That's how the memories are built. Focus on underlying concepts. This is again another trick, because if we link up something new with our pre-existing knowledge, it is that link helps us to uh, retain this memory. So when we focus on underlying concept, we form a network of understanding. And whatever we are learning, it fits into that network. And this whole network, it is easy to, if we remember only one concept, the rest of the things also come along with it, because we remember the connections. We remember how the things are interrelated. So this focusing on underlying concept is also very good for memory, for recalling, and for learning. There are some very popular learning techniques, but they are very inefficient. One is summarization. We write our own summaries, but according to research, it is very surprising that summarization is not very effective. It requires, of course, training. If you are trained in how to make summaries and how to, so that in a way that it is very effective. Otherwise, the general summarization that we do, it is not very efficient. Highlighting. Everybody does highlighting. Again, it is research says that it is more of a detraction rather than making learning any deeper. It may help us in marking certain passages for studying it deeper, but it is nothing more than that. It's not very efficient. Mnemonics, everybody uses mnemonics, but it is only for surface learning. Mnemonics is some code which we create to learn uh, for example, VibGyor. This VIBGYOR, we remember it to remember the colors of a rainbow. VIB, violet, indigo, blue, so on and so forth. So, so this is only for surface learning. It does not apply for any deep learning. And then imagery. Some people have photographic kind of memory and they are able to see uh, uh, something written text, and they store it in their mind, and they're able to read from the text and from the image in their mind. But it's a limited use and surface learning. It's not very useful, very efficient. And then rereading. One second. Again, it is limited, you can say, effectiveness if you are reading passively. We read once and then we read again. It is very light impact on our memory until unless we do some active reading. But this is very prevalent in like in schools and colleges, or even in reading various reports. We are just reading it again and again. So what are the effective learning techniques? Recall. We have talked about it, what we study, and we try to recall without looking at the text. That is very effective. Distributed practice, spaced repetition, we have talked about it. Elaborative interrogation. This is again very interesting thing. When we are reading something, if we read in a way that we are going to teach someone, we learn it better. Self-explanation. Anchor new concept in the existing knowledge, where we are explaining to ourselves what we know already, how this fits in our existing knowledge. If we do this, this is very effective. Speaking and listening. See, most of our student life, we have been accustomed to reading and writing. But research says that if we speak and listen to what we are speaking, it is much more effective. And it needs to be tried. We speak out and then we listen to ourselves. More, you can say, senses are being, getting into play. When we are speaking, we have to read. We are reading. Now we are reading visual and oral. Both sensory inputs are coming, and then it makes more richer connection. Feynman technique. It is also a very famous technique. Richard Feynman was a famous physicist, and he used to say that if you cannot explain a concept in very simple terms to a layman, that means you yourself don't understand the concept. So we use this. Any concept, we try to explain the concept in simple words. We can even try talking to a layman or talking to a person who is not aware of the technicalities of the subject. In very simple terms, we try to explain. And when we are explaining, we may struggle if our understanding is not complete. Those are known as blind spots. We then clarify or study deeply the blind spot so that there are no blind spot or understanding is complete. Then we can explain it to very simple words to any layman. Using an analogy, this helps a lot. And for example, when you're talking about electricity, we say it is a flow of electrons. Well, what are electrons? We can say analogy, it's like flow of water, pipe. Pipe is like wire, and current is like flowing water and from high pressure to low pressure, something like that. Whatever analogy, because analogy is using existing knowledge which a person has with some new concept. Then he understands it very nicely because everybody knows how water flows through pipes. And then he can easily relate it to how electric current flows through electric wires. Interleaved practice. This is again a very important piece of information, especially when we are studying multiple subjects or having multiple, you can say, areas to engage in. Block learning is what usually people do. We study subject A for a long period of time, then we switch to subject B, then we switch to subject C. But interleaved learning says for a short time we study A, then we study B, then we study C. Then again we go to A, B, C. So there's a lot of explanation given in the book, but I'm just mentioning it over here that this is a you can say method which is highly effective, and especially for forming interconnections between different subjects, because certain subjects are interrelated. Like for example, I'm from science background. Physics and maths are interrelated. If I study physics and then maths and then third related subject, then the understanding and the interlinking of concepts between these subjects become much more, you can say, richer, and it helps us in a greater understanding. Research has shown that interleaving produces 43% increase in learning and retention over block learning. So this is significant, you can say, improvement. So we can try this also. Now, there are some deeper concepts. Do we have time? I'll just quickly go through this. Some 6 facets of understanding. This is something little higher, you can say, than basic learning. Explanation. We can trigger our deeper understanding when we ask these questions: why, what big idea that lies, which ties all our observations together. So we are seeking explanation from the topic that we are studying, and not just consuming what is written. That's how, when we are seeking explanation, our understanding becomes much more deeper. Interpretation. Every person is unique. Every person has a different perspective, different knowledge, different experiences, different skill sets. So interpret the meaning in your own knowledge. This sooner or later becomes very important. Your own interpretation of things rather than what is just written over there. And making you derive more meaning from your own experiences. Application. If we study with the focus on how I could apply in the real world, the knowledge becomes, practical, and it becomes more ingrained within us. Perspective is like broadening of our view. We bring in new perspective and see. Here, the idea is that we are not just reading what is written, we are thinking and trying to broaden our horizon, how this fits into the other scheme of things. Empathy. Empathy is about feeling other person's experience. And when we are empathetic, we can bring our own experience, and we can understand a new dimension of understanding can be developed when we are reading with empathy. And finally, everybody has a deep desire to understand oneself. And sometimes when we read with this, that everything we read, it also helps us understand ourselves better, how we are interpreting it this way, why we are interpreting it this way, why other person is interpreting other way. So this is also a source or other a process of self-knowledge. Problem-based learning. I think this is one of the last concepts which fosters learning through the process of solving real-world problem, because eventually all learning has to lead to solving real-world problems. So if we are motivated to solve the real-world problems and we seek learning to solve those problems, then learning becomes much more deeper and much more faster and wider. We can also start from studying a real world problem and then getting motivated to study how this problem can be solved. Many businesses get started with this approach. We study a problem and then we see how we can resolve it, how we can solve it. And then learning by doing. Of course, this is a very important concept, that if we are only learning and memorizing and recalling, it's all bookish knowledge. But when we begin to apply, the learning goes really deep. And then there is no need for recall and other techniques, because now we are using it and it becomes part of us, part of us. So the learning is really deep and lasting when we do learning by doing. A quick review of mistakes in learning. Lazy reading. Just reading and glancing, it is no use. Actively engage, try to recall, summarize, make notes, ask questions. Fixate on a learning style. People have this concept that this is how I read, this is how I learn. I read a book, or I read a chapter, or I read a report, or I read some article, and that's it. And maybe I read again. Try different learning styles. Try to hear, try to talk, try to question, try to recall. So we have to make our learning a little more engaging, and not say that I only read. I cannot hear an ebook. Try it. Or I cannot speak and listen. I only read and write. Try speak and listen. Lazy note taking. People take notes all over, but I have rarely seen people taking very good notes. Some people take very good notes, because note taking is not just writing down what is coming in. And for that, there are many methods. Cornell method is one of the most popular method, and there are many variations of this method which people apply. I will just briefly give you an idea. In Cornell method, there are three areas. In first area, you can have this area anyway, but then generally in the center, there is a big block where we make our notes, whatever, if we are in a class or if we are in a presentation or if we are in a meeting, whatever, we make our notes there. And then on the left-hand side, there is another column which we call Q. Then we later on we enrich our notes and make whatever is missing or whatever is you can say written, and which is not clear, we write in the left-hand column Q. And then the bottom is summarization. We need to have the ability to summarize what all we have learned, at least in that page or that passage, in very small. That is the complete note taking, not lazy note taking, and whatever we are listening, we are writing, and next day we will see, will not be able to make sense of it. What is it? What does it mean? So immediately we have to transfer it into cues, make detailed notes, and then into summary. Okay, I will end with this quote from Eric Hoffer. In times of change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists. So with this, we come to end of this presentation session, but we have yet to meditate. So we don't have much time, so we'll meditate for a short time. I urge you to please sit for meditation, and I will guide you through it. It's for a very short time, and you see the difference. First, you note how is your mental state and how you are feeling right now, and then we will review this after we have meditated. So find a place, stop whatever you are doing, sit, gently close your eyes, breathe deeply and relax, let go. We will start with relaxation. We will relax each and every part of the body step by step. First, you move your fingers of your toes and let them relax. Feel that some energy is coming from earth, healing energy, which is entering your body through the sole of your feet and relaxing both your feet, your toes and your heels. Feel this energy rising up slowly, relaxing your calves, relaxing your knees, relaxing your thighs. Healing energy from earth is rising up and relaxing the area where you are sitting. All the tension from that area is going out, and the healing energy now spreading to your lower back, relaxing your lower back. Healing energy now spreading to your entire waist area, relaxing your waist, relaxing your lower back. Healing energy now spreading across your entire back. Your middle back is relaxing, your upper back is relaxing, shoulder blades are relaxing, your entire backbone is relaxing. Feel the healing energy in your chest area, relaxing all the organs in your chest area and chest muscles. Feel the healing energy on your shoulders and feel all the tension melting away, and your shoulders are dropping because of relaxation. Healing energy of Mother Earth entering through your feet is now traveling to your upper arms, relaxing your upper arms, relaxing your lower arms, each and every muscle in your forearm, wrists, palms, fingers. Both arms are now fully relaxed, right from your shoulders to the tip of your fingers. Feel the healing energy around your neck. Each and every muscle of your neck is now relaxed. Feel the healing energy now on your face. Your jaw is dropping because of relaxation. All the muscles in your face are relaxing, your chin, your lips, your cheeks, your ears, earlobes, nose, eyelids are now very gently closed because of relaxation. Your forehead is now relaxed. Healing energy from Mother Earth is entering from your feet, traveling through your entire body, relaxing each and every organ of your body and reaching your head and spreading all over your head and relaxing your entire head, front part, back part, top of the head. Your entire body is completely relaxed, right from your toes up to the top of your head. Gently scan your entire body from toe to the head, and if there is inconvenience felt in any part of the body, allow the healing energy to go there and put that part at ease. Now your entire body and mind are completely relaxed. Gently divert your attention towards your heart and stay there for some time. Feel the presence of source of divine light is already present in the heart. Gently divert your attention towards it, towards the source of divine light already present in the heart. And stay there. Remain connected there. Feel that this source of divine light is attracting you deep within. Allow yourself to be attracted towards it, ignoring all other thoughts. Remain connected with this source of divine light in the heart with love and reverence. Allow it to open and allow yourself to go deeper, deep within. Ignore all other thoughts that are coming at this time. We can attend to them later. Right now, we are connecting with the divine light, the source of divine light deep within our heart. And if we get distracted by any thought, and as soon as we realize we are in a different thought stream, we drop that thought then and there and come back to the original thought of the source of divine light deep within our heart and reconnect with it. We keep doing this for some time. Please start doing this on your own till I say that's all. Please start meditation. Keep your eyes closed and gently come out of meditation. Assess how you are feeling. Make a note of your mental condition. How you are feeling right now in your heart, in your mind. And once you have made a note of it, gently open your eyes. So we have a few questions. I'll just go through them. How can I effectively apply the techniques of accelerated learning to retain key concepts and information from a session or lecture? What are some common challenges listeners face when trying to absorb information quickly? How can these challenges be overcome using accelerated learning strategies? This is what my presentation was all about. The one key thing that you can take away from this presentation is spaced repetition. Memory gets strengthened if we repeat. If we repeat over a period of time, then we can learn. And when you say learning, it is not just memory. So when we are, let's say, for example, in the question one, apply techniques in accelerated learning to retain key concepts and information from a session, on a lecture. When a session is there and a lecture is there, we make notes. The notes that we are making during the lecture are going to be short and may not very elaborate, because we cannot verbatim write down what is being spoken. And immediately after this, following the Cornell's method, we can make detailed notes, what we can recall, maybe see the video or hear again if it is possible. And then we write those detailed notes in our own, you can say, language. And then we write a summary. This is how note taking works. And if you want to, and there are some difficult concepts, we revisit it next day. Because whatever time we have taken to learn a concept or making notes, it may take 30 minutes now. The next day when we revisit it, it will happen in 20 minutes. And third day, maybe happen in 10 minutes. So spaced repetition and engaging while we are learning. Actively, we can say learning. Actively learning is when we are reading a notes or when you're reading a passage, we recall frequently, we keep asking questions, we engage with the material and not just passively read without engaging ourselves. We involve ourselves. We even challenge the concepts or the, you can say, whatever has been taken as a preconceived thing, we question that. So when we are questioning, when we are connecting with our previous understanding, then the learning is much more deeper and faster. Challenges listeners face is lack of energy, lack of motivation, lack of purpose, lack of enthusiasm. So all these are challenges, lack of focus, lack of motivation, which I've already talked. So we need to find a higher purpose when we are learning. If we are motivated by a higher purpose, we become more focused. And what is that higher purpose? For each person, one has to think. When we are focusing on a higher purpose, some deeper brain functions, they come into play and they keep us more focused. So that's the key. Other is, how can I effectively apply the techniques of Excel learning to retain key concepts and information from a session? Or it is the same question. What are some common, okay, this is repeated. So I've talked about it. Whatever I presented in this presentation, if you go through it, all these questions, a whole presentation was about this only. So having a good memory, everybody has good memory. Earlier, I had a feeling, you can say, notion that I don't have a good memory. But then I remembered when I was very young, and of course I have studied physics, chemistry, maths. There was this biology or something. If this was biology or history, I don't even remember the subject. There was this evolution of human, Australopithecus, Zinjanthropus, Pathecanthropus, Sahelanthropus, Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon. This was to be mugged, and teacher had given good hint that it's going to come in exam, and I was trying to cram it and I could not. So what I did instinctively, I went to a place. That time I went to our roof and I started speaking when I was walking, and I started speaking these words, because they are very strange sounding words and they have no logic behind it. You just have to remember it. So for 15-20 minutes I was walking up and down and I was just repeating, and then I wrote, and the next day I recalled. I was, you can say, instinctively following spaced repetition, and even today I remember those meaningless words, which of course are having meaning, but for me they were just words. So this works. So if we are able to hone in at the right technique, we will be able to have good learning. And if we are able to question what we are reading, connect it with our previous knowledge, and have a deeper engagement, then learning will be much deeper. And the most thing is important thing is applying in the real life. What we read, it is said that 1/3 is reading and 2/3 is actually applying it, what you have studied. So find those areas of applying whatever you are studying, you will be able to retain it much better. With this, I come to the end of my presentation. I've taken 5 minutes more. Sorry for that, but then let's hope that it has been of some value to you. Thank you.
Shah sir, thank you so much, sir. It was a really, really wonderful and engaging session. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. With this, we are closing this session. Thank you.